Hey everybody, Cone on the road here to give you an update as to what the hell's been going on, because I'm sure you could tell that either you knew because you are following along on Discord. Discord is where I provide most of the updates to things that are going on with me, going on with us, going on with channels and stuff like that. But perhaps you're not, and perhaps I just need to do a Cone on the road because I gotta get things off my chest, because that's how I do. That's who I've become. Trying to remember. Last time I think I was with, it was me painting the bean that did Cone on the road. So, since then, I think I was having some health issues at that point. Surely. This feels like it's been going on forever, so I believe so. But, well, to put things in a way that sound overly daunting, I'm currently driving pretty far away to get an MRI done. So things have escalated and they haven't. Essentially, the last month to 2 months have been spent trying to figure out and assess if I've got like something serious going on, if I've got nothing going on, and it's been a real juggling act. I may have only talked about it in blog. I do also, I put my thoughts into words on digital paper on occasion. And a lot of it has just been that unfortunate reality of being an American that, well, being a poor American, that you basically have to present your case to the judge before receiving health care, unless you are, like, end-of-life terminally ill. But unless you're critical, you gotta fight. And that's real daunting, especially for somebody with I have a very, what's the word? I have a very passive personality. I don't do well with any aggression. I don't do well with, I would be the worst on a debate team. You know, I'm not a fighter. I think the most that maybe people know, most that's been said in a public manner, is that I have a thyroid condition where I have an autoimmune disorder. My body likes to attack my own thyroid. It's never been known why. And the struggle has been that I've never had concurrent health care. I've never had a doctor or been seen for any long stretch enough time that there's any kind of good documented history on this. There's been a lot of guessing, there's been a lot of second guessing, there's been a lot of questioning, and even doubting at times, but never a nice, concrete diagnosis, which, from what I've figured out, when it comes to any condition that is to do with a autoimmune situation, that tends to be the case. It tends to be the case that it's really hard to diagnose, typically very expensive, and a lot of times there's just not a whole hell of a lot they can do about it. So that's well and good. You know, that's honestly, I feel like I'm at a pretty good place with that. I finally got a doctor that was proactive about it. They wanted to know more. They wanted to get a concrete diagnosis and stuff like that. And we paid a ton of money to get sonogram imaging done, to see kind of what has been going on. But even then, it feels like pulling teeth to get consistent testing done. Basically, it feels like as soon as they realized we don't have very good health insurance and we're not wealthy, they started to really clam up and didn't want to push the issue. They were like, you know what? you're presenting healthy enough, your weight is nice and consistent, you're up and moving around. At this point, let's just keep an eye on things and stick to the plan. Again, I'd probably be okay with that. I wouldn't call myself like a hypochondriac, but I certainly have my concerns. Like, there's certainly some level of uncertainty within me as far as like my long-term health for me, and it's always kind of been that way. I was a pretty sickly child. I had a pretty good run from, like, we'll say preteen to mid-20s, where it felt like everything was cool and normal, and then kind of a regression from there. The first doctor that ever diagnosed me with the Hashimoto's, which was an autoimmune thyroid condition. And by the way, I am not sitting here looking for internet diagnosis. I'm sharing my experiences, I'm sharing my thoughts and what's been going on, and I appreciate immensely everybody's support through everything. The support that really means a lot to me is the reassurance and just understanding support. People that know and understand that obviously the quality and quantity of content that I'm currently making is the best I can do. And they're still supporting just as much as ever, even though the quantity and quality are lower. It's still, we're still able to keep our heads above the water because of that. That's the support that means a lot to me. That sounds a little like, well, the support that means a lot to me is the money. No. It's not the money. It's the people not giving up. It's the people knowing that this is a phase, it's a struggle, and that they want to see me and want to see us, get through that and get back to, where we were before and maybe better than before. That's good support. Trying to micro-diagnose every situation that I'm talking about here, not the support I'm looking for. Now, if you have, conditions personally that mirror mine, then feel free. Anyway, where were we? Oh, yeah. So, the first time I was ever diagnosed, I really liked the doctor that I had then. I also had pretty good insurance at the time. That was nice. That was right when the healthcare marketplace stuff started to come online, and, I was able to actually get pretty decent insurance, which was cool. Anyway, he diagnosed it pretty quickly, and was doing monthly blood tests and labs, and we were tracking it, and I felt very confident at that point. I felt very secure. Like, I had a good understanding of what was going on, and he gave me a lot of advice. Like, he just sat there and gave me advice about, this is something that you'll deal with forever, and you need to look out for stuff. And, one of the things he told me at that point was, you have, obviously, an autoimmune condition. People that have that need to be looking out for stuff because, your immune system can go wrong in other ways, and it can go wrong enough that your body can start to, create bad cells. It can start to develop cancers, and even just go, towards attacking other things that you can end up with, like arthritis and stuff like that. There's a lot of wrong that your immune system can end up doing. So it's, something that you need to look out for. And he kind of gave me the guidance of, this is the things, these are the signs. You see these, you come to me. Thankfully, that run of it, that year of it, wasn't so bad, honestly. It got pretty bad, because at that point, it seemed like whatever was going on was making me very hyperthyrotic, not hypo, which meant my heart rate was just constantly very high. I was losing weight. I felt like I was running a marathon all day long. It was rough. But it went, and we moved on. Of course, in the years after that, I took the plunge of leaving standard work. I started making less money. My health insurance started to get worse. The American healthcare system started to get worse. You know, that the whole marketplace thing started with great intentions, but corporations are going to find their money. You know, they're gonna make up their losses eventually. They're not going to be like, boy, people sure seem to be healthier, you know, having affordable healthcare. No, they're going to be like, it seems like this has hurt our bottom line. And they're going to find their money, you know, they're going to make up for it, and they did. And if you don't ratchet up your income to match, then you're not really gonna, you know, you're not gonna have that same level of care that you used to. I don't remember if I talked about this on the last Cone on the Road, or if it was in vlog, Cone on the Road, whatever. It was so sad when my actual doctor currently looked at me and was like, I understand the situation you're in. I have the same health insurance you do. And that was one of the most depressing things I've ever heard. Like, even she can't get the level of healthcare that, you know, she needs to live a healthy life. That's pretty depressing. So fast forward to today, after a pretty good fight, I have a pretty good rapport with my current doctor. During my last visit, her boss decided to step in because my impression is because I had been there too much, and, you know, we hadn't gotten to the bottom of it, and quite frankly, they're busy. You know, they have too many patients. They can't possibly see everybody every time they need to be seen, essentially, and there's just a constant flood of people needing to come in, and having somebody come in 3 or 4 times a month, that destroys their whole system. So she stepped in and basically walked all over us, just tried to, you know, strong arm the situation, and took as little information as possible, and basically tried to erase everything that we had been working towards to this point. So far, you know, I have, if you aren't aware, I have some swelling, and some painful swelling in places of my body. That is concerning. It happened at the same time that I was having kind of another flare-up of thyroid-related stuff. That's why we went ahead and did the sonogram. Well, it would appear that they're unrelated, or who knows at this point. Overall, the thyroid stuff seems like it's pretty stable for now. So, you know, we tried the antibiotic route to make sure it wasn't an infection. We tried steroids to see if it was some kind of injury that needed to heal. And so far, there's been no change. It hasn't gotten better. At times, it's gotten worse. This doctor just completely wanted us to just leave that path altogether. Literally suggested I go to a chiropractor. Got basically the earworm into her ear that I work at a computer. Decided it was nerve damage. Didn't want to hear anything else from us. Thankfully, I have paint with me, because just like, you know, I've had to go to appointments with her to stand up for her, especially in like the early pregnancy phase, and especially in the later pregnancy phase. You know, she was there to kind of like stand up for me and be like, no, this is what everything you're saying right now is completely against our wishes, basically. You know, he doesn't at all believe in, and I don't believe in like chiropractic or stuff like that. Alternative medicine, especially. She did say those words and cringed me incredibly. There might be some jumps in this. I'm going somewhere that I've not really gone before, so I gotta do some navigating. It was not good. But thankfully, she stood up for me and kind of changed the conversation. We finally got to the point of getting out of them that they knew of a place. They knew a place that did essentially not walk-in, but independent radiology scans and such. So instead of it being $5,000-$10,000 to get scans done, I'm not even kidding. I'm talking real prices, because my condition isn't bad enough to basically sell my case to the insurance company. They were like, they didn't even want to try. Basically, they didn't even want to have that discussion with the insurance companies, because they knew that they weren't going to approve it, and I would have to pay out of pocket. And it's possible the hospital wouldn't even do them, because they know they're never going to get that money from us, essentially. Like, they know that we don't have that kind of cash flow to pay for it, and if there's not enough reasonable cause for it, then they're not going to do it. Finally, I call her Boomer Doc, came around with the information that they know of this independent place that does scans, and they'll do it, for a price that's actual, instead of, like, when you get a scan done at a hospital, they build in all of the costs of running a hospital onto that, instead of the costs of what it costs to do a scan. So, I'm not even going to get into the capitalistic nature of it, the profit nature of it. I'm just saying, like, all they do is scans, so all they need to charge for is scans. So it was something that was affordable. And even then, we still had to talk it out and figure out, what's the minimum scan we can get in order to try to get an idea of what's going on. Because if you get a whole body MRI, even in a place like that, it's going to be a lot of money. What is that? What is that over there? Can you see it? I don't know. I'll have to look at it on the way back. I think it's a rancho. So yeah, that's where we're headed today, is to get that scan done in an independent place. The fact that places like that exist is good, and super depressing. Like, super depressing. That even has to be a thing. That there's even a market for that is really depressing. Of course, that means that I have to drive, an hour and a half away to get it done, on a day in which the person holding us together right now, my wife, Paint, threw her back out yesterday, and is currently trying to watch our 8-month-old with a thrown out back. I set them up, basically cocooned in a playpen with all of their needs, and hoping that they can just, survive the day, or however long I'm going to be gone, together, because, some jackass moved us out to where we don't know anybody, and there's nobody that could come help watch the bean. It's a nightmare. It's a freaking nightmare. And I'm just mad. I'm just really mad that this is what it's like to live. This is what being a person today is. And I'm even madder knowing that I don't even have it the worst. Like, we literally live a lot better than a lot of people around us. Like, we probably do better and live better and happier than a lot of people that live in our area. That's even sadder. Man, I've been going through the entire Star Trek, I don't know what you call it, discography? No, that's a music thing. What's it called? Catalog? And I just started watching Picard, even though a lot of people I know ended up not liking it. I gotta say, I've actually really enjoyed it. It is very dark, but it is also very poignant, I feel. Like, I think it speaks a lot to the era that we're living in. Thank you. Thank you, Suze. Yeah, they're doing this with a lot of these country roads out here, putting traffic circles in the place of the two-way or four-way intersections. And I gotta say, I really appreciate it, because these are always some of the most dangerous intersections in the rural areas. Not that, rural people know how roundabouts work, but... Well, I completely lost my train of thought. Caught in a roundabout. of emotions. I I know that we were going over like a situation with paint or something like that. Anyway, so that's where I'm headed. I'm headed to get my very first MRI to try to figure out, if this swelling is maybe an injury, if it's maybe some lymph nodes that are angry and upset. Who knows? It could be anything. It could be nothing. It would suck if it was nothing, because I am in pretty constant, significant pain, and the nothing diagnosis is almost harder than the, real bad diagnosis in some cases, because when it's nothing, there's nothing they can do for you. Of course, it's not nothing, but you know what I mean. Nothing that is currently diagnosable as treatable. I'll be relieved and go about my life, basically, as long as it, we're pretty sure that it's nothing that is going to get worse, nothing that's going to, become a bigger issue. I've dealt with pretty bad back injuries in my life, and other things like that, and I just, sucked it up and got through it. I can do that with a shoulder injury or whatever is going on, if that's the case. But I think we all need the reassurance that it is something like that. So we'll see. I've never had a CT scan. I've never had an MRI or anything like that. So don't know exactly. I mean, I think I know enough of what an MRI is like to have a pretty good feeling. They're doing only a small area, so it shouldn't be very long. I know they're noisy and whatever, and that should be fine. I should be okay with that. But it's we'll see. We will see. But it's the bargain of only $300. Whoa! $300 for what is supposed to take 15 minutes? What's that per hour? Can't be worse than the $1,000 sonogram I had done on my thyroid that lasted maybe 15 minutes. Can't be worse than that. I would say the good news, the positive, is that I haven't even had enough time to be worried about careerosphere. I have been too preoccupied with all of this situation to even have the capacity to be thinking about that stuff. So that's good. And honestly, if it there's been so many people that have stepped up and helped us get through during this phase, and if it wasn't for them, I don't know what we would do, because I'd be so far in the hole right now. It would be irrecoverable. This is one of those I hate intersections, way out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, doggy, get off the road. You look hot. It's hot out. It's been really rough, but it's also been very we've been girdled. we've been aided through a lot of this process by many people that I am eternally grateful to, and I just hope that I have the opportunity to make good on it. I hope I have the opportunity to make something out of it. But I also know in my heart that a lot of the people, most of the people, if not all of the people that have helped, the only thing they expect in return is us to have an easier time through hard times. Like, I know that at the end, if everything turns out great and fine, if I was like, all right, signing off, we're gonna go and live a more normal life, working regular jobs, and that's the end of Cone Dodger 240 as a personality, they would be like, you know what? Good run. So I basically haven't been able to touch the 200, which is fine because it's you know, the middle of summer. I tend to always kind of try to not do as much garage stuff during the heat of the summer. It's miserable. Like, I'm not gonna have a good time. You're not gonna have a good time. It's just not good. I would love to have, you know, gotten the garage up to a point now where I can, you know, work year round out there, but that stuff's all so deep on the back burner for now. Thankfully, Blade is, dude, he's just the nicest. Like, Blade is such a nice person. He's so good to me, and he always has been, and is one of the few people that I kind of like still talk to on a regular basis from what I call past life. So he's totally fine with the fact that, you know, the 200 hasn't had a lot of progress. I did go out and drive it for the first time down our little side street. No, it's not registered or anything yet. Are you a cop? If so, I didn't actually say that. And it was okay. It certainly needs a lot of work still, but it was drivable. Like, I could drive it at this point. I've gotten the electronics working enough that I could probably get it to pass inspection at this point. The exhaust still needs some pretty heavy work, but other than that, I mean, it would pass. It would be fine. So once the weather gets better, and hopefully health gets better, we should be able to really get back into that and start to do some more serious, you know, work to it, and really refinement. Not even serious work. We've done the serious work. Now we need the serious refinement, and I look forward to that. I don't want to say a quick word to Sabrina. Thank you. You've actually been super great to me so far, and super nice to have, comfortable for our family, and more useful than I ever imagined. Like, I knew it would be more practical than the Soul, but the amount of practicality is so much more than I ever expected. Paint did, you know, who is now unable to move, it did learn the valuable lesson of why minivans are so great. You know, getting kids in and out of them at, you know, waist height is so much better than leaning down or picking up. Someday we'll have a minivan. Someday. But overall, I enjoy driving it, and it's just been very practical. It's been very, very nice to have. And it does, you know, it brings me enough joy to drive it that it makes the hard times and going to these faraway appointments and stuff not so bad. I miss Betty. Powers is enjoying it, it seems. It seems like Powers really likes or enjoys the TT enough. You know pretty quick with him whether he likes something or not. He's pretty quick to judge, hard to please. So he got the windshield fixed, and he's just started getting into the maintenance stuff on it. And it seems like a keeper to him. You know, it seems like something that he really likes and appreciates, and he wants to track it and do track days and stuff with it. And more power to him. I would love to, you know, have that car for that kind of stuff, but I love having this car for the lifestyle that I'm living right now. Alright, I'm gonna sign off here and probably come back to you post MRI and tell you what that experience was like. I'm not really super anxious about it. I think the anxious stuff is always like the signing in, and, you know, what kind of procedure is it? The actual exam, I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna close my eyes. Alright, so that was both easy and too easy. It was not 15 minutes. It was like 2 minutes. And like it was just like sliding back and forth through the little tube thing. It was easy peasy. And I was like, that's not like this was described. And as I was leaving, I was like, I think that was a CT scan. That wasn't an MRI. I must have read it wrong. I come out here and I look at my papers, and the order is for an MRI. So I go back in, and I'm like, did I just get a CT scan? Because, like, my work order was for an MRI, and they're like, the order we got was for a CT scan. And I was like, okay then. So hopefully I didn't just spend $300 on nothing other than a nice little dose of radiation. It's just like, it has been a year solid of just like every little thing can't go smoothly. Like, everything has to have some kind of little hitch in it, or big hitch, or something. Who knows? Well, hopefully they can have some idea of what's going on from a CT scan. And if they can't, I guess I'm just gonna let it do as it do until somebody cares enough. That's pretty much where we're at. So I guess hidden soda. I guess I just beg of you to continue the patience. Even the doctor that was like, or I don't know, imaging specialist, whatever. The person that was doing the imaging seemed a little like confused. Like they were just like trying to understand the reasoning for the scan and everything. So I don't know. It all just seems like a mystery to everyone, and I think that's just how it's gonna be. Well, I've got another, like, hello Tesla. I've got another, I don't know, 2 weeks before I even get the results of that. So I guess I'm just gonna try to live my life as most as I can normally, and just pretend that everything's okay. It's still way too hot to be doing any garage stuff, so I guess I'll just be doing as much gaming as possible. Yeah, if you're watching this like at the time of release, just know that there will probably not be many streams, as I will be pretty much soloing beam duties, and that's just how it's gonna be. You have to laugh. You have to. You get demonetized on YouTube for crying, is what I'm saying.